better believe we need them. We need those strategies, especially when school starts.
Oh, man, do we ever. No better time.
No better time. So are you ready? You ready for your daily dose of radio rehab?
Ready or not, I'm here.
There you go. We're here. We hope you are too. Thank you for being here, folks. Thank you for tuning in to 101.7 FM, 710 Keel, and another edition of Strategies for Living. I'm Dr. David McMillan, and she is psychotherapist, PLPC Lauren Leon McMillan.
Yes.
Good old school days, huh? That's you know, for me that was DAZE.
Yeah.
We talked about that yesterday. Yeah, but
hopefully we shake off that daze as we move into the school DAYS.
You know, I've got an idea that will help us. I mentioned it yesterday.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Donesa Walker.
That's right. I'm excited.
From LearningRx, Shreveport, Bossier City.
I can't think of a better life strategist to help us to prepare for back to school
None better. And, you know, there's a lot going on. And, of course, you know, today I would imagine was a busy day for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. A lot of moms and dads and probably grandparents, and not to mention the kids, right?
Sure.
And, you know, there's a lot of things that we can talk about as we get into this new school year. Donesa, you know, has so much knowledge about understanding disabilities, and, you know, it's never too late because those can show up really at any time in our life, and we're going to talk about that today with Donesa. Do you know that 1 in 7 Americans have a learning disability?
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a lot of learning disabilities that go undiagnosed, unnoticed, and what a difference that can make in a child's ability to learn and understand. When you, in fact, you know, learning disabilities really significantly increase the dropout rate.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah, and so we're going to talk about that and so much more. It's always, it is always educational.
Oh, I love when we have Donesa.
Yeah, and
always
so
learn something new.
You know, it's kind of like sometimes I have to raise my hand.
Yeah.
You know, like that Far Side cartoon. Donesa, can I be excused? My brain is full.
Well, I'm sure she'll fill it up today.
You know,
an outpouring of knowledge.
I absolutely have no doubt about that, and I can always count on, you know, Donesa filling up my brain and more, especially when she brings all of those, all that the president charts out and stuff, and wants me to read them backwards. I don't know. Folks, thank you for tuning into Strategies for Living. Thank you for being here with us. And we appreciate all of our sponsors making it possible. The Robinson Film Center and LearningRx and Azalea Cleaners and Pintail Roofing and Hempress Cannabis with Love and the Balanced Life Wellness Center. Back in a moment with Donesa Walker from LearningRx here on Strategies.
Hi, this is Jay Merle for Pintail Roofing. Let's talk about quality. When you hire Pintail to build your roof, here's what you can expect. Quality and quality control are the most important concerns for us at Pintail, and you need to know that Pintail stands tall with swift and professional performance on any warranty call. This is our most important policy. And remember, we're your neighbors. We'll be here for you for the long haul. Our family's lived here for over 100 years, and we aren't going anywhere. On the commercial side of Pintail's business, our fluid-applied roofing solutions can save thousands of dollars over conventional commercial roofing options. Call Pintail at 226-ROOF for a free inspection of your home or commercial building. That's 226-7663. Pintail Roofing. What's the condition of your roof?
And welcome in. Welcome into 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Welcome into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan. And let's welcome back into the program Donesa Walker. She opened up Shreveport's LearningRx back in 2008 with a passion for training the brain in order to conquer the underlying deficits that cause dyslexia, largely due to a history of this condition in her own family. Watching the lives of students of all ages change due to more cognitive efficiency, that is her passion. Donesa got her master's of education from UT Tyler and is a certified master reading teacher and a dyslexia specialist, 30 plus years of teaching administration experience. But we are so glad that she decided, hey, Shreveport Bossier City needs LearningRx. So she put one here, and the rest, as they say, is history. Donesa Walker, welcome back to Strategies for Living. How you doing?
Welcome.
I'm doing well. I'm glad to be here.
And I think it's worth mentioning that it is now recognized that our LearningRx Center is the top in the entire nation,
Yes.
right?
Congratulations.
In the entire nation and the entire world.
What?
You know, it's not many times that Shreveport can claim a world champion, but now when we look at LearningRx, world champion. I love it.
That's
Congratulations, Donesa, to you and your entire wonderful staff.
They are a wonderful staff, and I'm very grateful for each one of them.
So, did that recognition surprise you? That that you were number one in the world?
Yes and no. I mean, yes, because I always am competing against bigger cities and, things like that, because most of the cities are in, the larger metropolitan areas and not, the smaller areas like Shreveport. But
right.
So it's exciting that a little town with the demographics that we have, and we have a lot of people who are willing to do what it takes for their kids, and that impresses me. And more than anything, the reason why I was nominated, got all of the accolades, was because there is a lot of people in our area that are passionate about making a difference for children, and to embrace that it doesn't have to be just a child's brain that can change, but we can change our brain at any age, at any time. And I have, doctors and lawyers and electricians and, business people and aging adults, lots of different people who are taking advantage of the brain training for themselves and making the decision to take a step forward for themselves.
Absolutely.
Just quit saying, that I'm stuck with the cognitive cards I'm dealt, and they've decided that it's time for them to do something different. And so I love that. I love that because like I said, it's a passion for me, because I understand that many, many times when we were growing up, SLDs, specific learning disabilities, were not really recognized like they are today.
Right.
And, many times, unless you were severely cognitively delayed, you did not get the attention. You just were told to work harder, and there was no recognition of the neurodiversity that could be. I struggled with math, and because I had a 140 IQ, the perception was I did not struggle with math. I was just being lazy.
Right.
And so that was not the reality. The reality was I had a weakness in my visual processor due to the fact that I had glasses, due to the fact that I didn't see well, for the first part of my life, and created a deficit. So understanding what these deficits can do to the brain, and understanding that you're not stuck with that brain and that you can do something about it, that has been mind-boggling, totally embracing, and I'm celebrating, as we talk today, 16 years of doing this in our area. I opened on August the 21st 16 years ago. So
Wow.
I am very blessed.
Well, and as are
Very
we.
blessed.
Yeah, we're all blessed. This community has been blessed. And folks, let me mention that LearningRx is at 8856 Uri Drive in Shreveport, going south. It's just past LSU Shreveport, and you can find you can find them there. They even have a cup of coffee that they'll give you as you tour the center, and they're open Monday through Friday, 9 until 7, and on Saturdays, 9 till 2. So plenty of time to get the brain trained. What's the biggest single thing, Donesa, that when you think about disabilities and beginning to wrap your mind around disabilities, what's the biggest thing for us to understand?
I think that many times disabilities are missed. And I think a lot of times we often say that students aren't capable or mark them down when they just have a weakness and something can be done about it. I mean, signs of SLDs can be poor memory, and that's trainable if you come to LearningRx.
Right.
Low self-esteem. Low self-esteem is something that can be boosted when you can. Nobody wants to struggle, and if you give them the skill, then the wheel follows, you know?
Right.
I think when they have a need for constant step-by-step guidance, and they have a disinterested attitude towards school, or sloppy work, clowning, disruptive, even some possible aggression.
Yep.
Those are all signs that there's something else going on, and it's not dysplasia.
Right.
And a lot of people seem to think it is,
Yep. He or she just needs to work a little harder and not be lazy. But if there's a disability on board, that's got to be identified and taken out of the way. What's the easiest way to go about identifying?
Well, I think as anything, if I think that there might be a struggle that's ongoing, and I could see any of these signs that I was talking about, no matter how old I am,
Right.
if I'm struggling with poor memory, or I'm struggling with low self-esteem, or I need to have some constant step-by-step guidance. Maybe I'm disinterested in what I'm doing, or I'm sloppy work, or I'm just, clowning around and being disruptive and being silly, maybe even a little aggressive. All of these signs can be signs that there is something else going on. And so the first step is obviously get an assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait. I mean, if you thought that you might be having trouble seeing, you would go to the eye doctor.
Right.
If you were having, some pain in your teeth and you weren't sure if it was something bad, like a cavity, you would go to the dentist.
Right.
If you felt, pains in your body, you would go find the doctor, you would get a checkup. So I think the fact that we have this thing about mental health, and we have this thing about our brain that we don't think that that's a priority, needs to be got rid of. We need to reprioritize that
and rethink it, because if I've got a problem in my heart, I'm going to the cardiologist.
Mm-hmm.
If I've got a problem in the brain, I need to identify it. And one of the first things you do is you can go get a cognitive checkup at LearningRx. How easy would that be?
Yes, absolutely. And then, if there's other things going on, we can refer you out to, the proper person.
Right.
To get further testing and to help you. But to get it done, why wait? That's my philosophy, is why wait?
What happens? What happens when someone comes in and says, I need a cognitive checkup? What's going to take place?
The really good thing is that they don't even have to come in. Many times they call on the phone and say, look, I need to, do a quick checkup. We can send them a link to do a digital assessment, and in 35 minutes they have an answer.
That's wonderful.
So, this is not something that you have to wait an eternity for. And you get results immediately. You get time to meet with me and talk about what those results might mean and what you could, slap diagnosis on people. That's not my job.
Right.
My job is to say this is where the weakness is, and this is where what we want to look at, and this is how it can be enhanced and made better. So I think the reality is that why are we waiting on things that can be so easily identified as a weakness and made better? And why do we have to mark this down as something that, this is how I always have been, this is how I always will be?
But if we can identify that early in the school year, that can make a tremendous difference in this very school year that now has kicked off and started, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the biggest things I see in a classroom is I have, kiddos that they have a language impairment, and they have an inability to express their ideas clearly. They use a lot of vague words like thing and stuff and lots of filler words or improper words that are used or use the words wrong. This can be a sign of a language impairment. And so these are important things to, identify when we have difficulty with numbers in sequence, and we have trouble with, processing. This is a possible math difficulty. So we need to quit looking at these things and saying, oh, well, they're just not working hard enough, and saying, wait, let me take a step back from this and say, could this be something more? Could I quit blaming this on COVID or a bad school or a bad teacher or, bad diet? Let's quit blaming it on other things, and let's get where we can have operation from a place of knowledge or authority.
Right. All right. It's as easy as picking up the phone, calling 318-797-8523. You can go online, learningrx.com/Shreveport. It's so easy to do. LearningRx is right here and ready to help.
The best center in the nation and the world.
And there's right now we're so focused on the medals, right?
Yeah.
Well,
that's right.
Here comes Donesa with her gold, her silver, her bronze, and anything in between, right?
Might be getting heavy.
Yeah, really. World champion LearningRx right here at 8856 Uri Drive in Shreveport. 318-797-8523. Donesa Walker, our life strategist today here on Strategies for a Living. We've got much more to learn, so stay with us. Hey, let's talk about the Robinson Film Center. I say it a lot. There's no place like the Robinson.
Absolutely, there is not.
617 Texas Street, downtown Shreveport. You've got so much. You got the movies. You got Abby Singer's Bistro on the second floor of RFC, open for lunch and dinner Tuesday through Saturday.
Newly remodeled.
Absolutely. Great menu. RobinsonFilmCenter.org is the way you check it all out. You can go to RobinsonFilmCenter.org at any time and find out what movies are showing. Here's the deal. You want to join the crowd, join the fun, become a member. When you become a member, you become a star. You get discounts on movies, you get concession upgrades, you get bistro deals. RFC, 617 Texas Street in downtown Shreveport. I'll say it again. There's no place like the Robinson.
There is not, and I'm glad we have one right here.
Absolutely. The RobinsonFilmCenter.org.
Reading begins not in the classroom, but in your child's brain. I'm Donesa Walker with LearningRx Shreveport. If your child struggles to read, maybe he or she has trouble focusing or comprehending, LearningRx Shreveport offers a science solution to reading problems, working one-on-one with your child, targeting his or her reading skills. Today, call LearningRx Shreveport. Make an appointment to have your child assessed. I know you want to help your child, so does LearningRx Shreveport.
And welcome back. Welcome back into 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan, and Donesa Walker from LearningRx, world champion LearningRx, right here in Shreveport, 8856 Uri Drive. And you can call them at 318-797-8523. You can drop in to see them, 8856 Urey Drive in Shreveport. Going south on Urey, just past LSU. They're on the opposite side of the road. What is that? That's Escape. Is it? Yeah. So find the escape place, and you can escape to help your brain right at LearningRx. And how it's never too late. We were talking to get a cognitive checkup, and you can do it so simply. All you got to do is pick up the phone, and you can send a link, and that starts the process. Is this an expensive deal, Donesa? I mean, am I going to break the bank doing this cognitive checkup?
So the cognitive checkup is normally $299, and that includes the consultation time, and that's the in-person assessment.
Right.
Typically, that same type of test, if you're going to a psychologist or something, would be quite a bit more expensive.
Several $100s more, I would say.
Yeah, in the thousands.
Yep.
The difference is I am not making a diagnosis. I am actually looking at the skills and saying, okay, here's where our weaknesses are and here's what can be done. So if we're having difficulty paying attention and we have, we're making careless mistakes and we're producing work that's messy and careless and now, everybody thinks that I've got ADHD. Is it really ADHD? Is it a memory issue? Is it, so there's a lot of cognitive weaknesses that are overlapping cognitive weaknesses. And as discussed before, 1 in 7 people have some type of learning issue. Now, if I went even more specific, 1 in 5 have a reading disorder or a reading disability.
Wow.
So that's very incredible when you start thinking about that. You say 1 in 7 have a learning disability, 1 in 5 actually have a reading inability because reading is not natural to the brain. Reading is not a process that is like breathing and thinking and walking and, natural for us to do. It is something that actually requires our brain to do something that is difficult, especially the English language.
Yes.
The English language has, an incredible amount of multiple meaning words. I mean, look at, let's just say the word hot. So many different definitions of that word. That's incredible. And just the word read itself, it could be read, it could be read,
right.
And it's just, where it occurs in the sentence. So I think this is one of the things that makes the English language so difficult and what I call the coding of the English language so difficult. So understanding that we have unusual spellings, we've accepted a whole bunch of different languages into our language, which, adds to the overall difficulty. And so that just makes the challenge more and more difficult for those who have struggled with the actual coding process. And, I'm not a computer. I don't code really well,
right.
But I do understand that for computers, they have multiple languages. They have, a bunch of different languages that you can write code in. The one most familiar to people is Windows, because that is a coding process that, it looks prettier than DOS or some of the others.
Right.
But that's because Windows is easy for us newbies to that whole language system, right?
Yeah.
So we don't understand the codes to code a more difficult language or a higher level of language. And yet we expect children to learn a more difficult language, the English language, straight from the get-go. We expect them to be able just to, pick it up and lay it down without having a high level of instruction in that. And when you add the difficulty with a learning issue, such as memory or processing, attention, any of these things, it makes it almost impossible. It's like trying to, run a beautiful car down the road without gas.
Yeah. Once you determine through the cognitive testing, okay, here are the areas that we can work on. You're gonna, in the sitting down with people, you're going to give specific recommendations. One of those recommendations might be brain training, right?
Absolutely. So brain training, the really great part of brain training is now we've identified where the weaknesses are. Now we're going to exercise that part of the brain and make it strong because understand, because that part of the brain has not been functioning efficiently like it should be, then that means that it's kind of gotten a little lazy.
Right.
It's not doing what it should be doing. And so the other parts of the brain are picking up the amount of work that's been left behind by that part of the brain not doing the functionality that it needs to do. So your long-term memory isn't functioning well. Your working memory and short-term memory are probably overworking. You're working other parts harder because this part, think of it as more of a car going down the road and 3 of the tires are functioning, but 1 isn't. You could still get down the road, but you're going to have an awful hard time going very quickly. And you're going to be limping down that road, and it would be much better for you to get that tire fixed than to continue to put the stress on the remaining 3 tires.
Right.
And if you take that same picture and you say, now I've got 2 tires out, now getting down the road is more difficult. Okay.
Yeah.
And so the more cognitive skills that are weak, the harder the travel is.
Yeah.
I can't help but also make the connection to our physical muscles, right? I mean, if one muscle is weak, all the others come through to try to help make the other better. And then we go to a personal trainer that helps to strengthen our weaker muscles. And so that's
correct.
Sounds a lot like what you do with your personal brain trainer.
Yes, it absolutely is very much like that. And it's very important because when you overwork one area of the body or the brain and you overwork the area, you put strain on the other ones that shouldn't be on there.
Right.
And so in order to be able to prevent that strain, we have the potential to correct that. And so this is an opportunity that we have to make that happen.
Yeah. You mentioned a few minutes ago, our reticence to, when it comes to anything with the brain, our reticence to address that. Where does that come from? Where did we get that idea? And isn't it time that we chunked that idea forever?
Absolutely. I think that we just we want to be, as human beings, just like everybody else. And that happens when there is a handicap of the body. It's pretty much obvious that there's a handicap to the body. And we have addressed that and, given people rights and, we help them with the things that you need. And I say them, myself being included. I mean, I have metal all in my back because my back is not functioning like it's supposed to. So now I have metal that supports my back, right?
Right.
So I mean, this is just the reality is no, we're not going to put metal in your brain. But what we are going to do is we're going to take those areas that are weak and we're going to turn them into the strengths.
Yeah, but you probably thank God and your surgeon every day for that metal in your back because it takes care of a lot of pain and helps you function. Of course, I don't know. Even before your back stuff, I couldn't keep up with you. So now,
that's a good point.
now I don't know.
You're like that 2-wheel in a car now.
Oh goodness. Well, and the thing about it is we need to make sure that who we're sending back to school, if they're children, that they do have all the faculties and efficiency that we want them to have. And
Absolutely.
In the time frame, a lot of times things happen. When a child has struggled year after year, they start giving up. When they start to feel less than everyone else, they start developing something called mind shame. And we have way too many kids that are we live in a world that we've never lived in before where everything is socially available.
Right.
And so, it affects our learning processes, and the way that we learn affects us in so many ways. And they're out there for everyone to see now. That makes it challenging.
I want to ask a question on behalf of parents who might be listening and they're thinking, Well, but isn't it the school's job to identify all of this stuff we're talking about? Isn't it won't the school tell me? And I don't mean any disrespect towards any school, because I think our teachers do a wonderful job. Administration does a wonderful job. But, we assume, and we better be careful about that, okay, the school's going to pick this up. What do you say to that, Donesa?
Well, it's not the school's role to do that. First of all, I mean, if your child is struggling to see and they say, I'm having a hard time seeing, you take them to the eye doctor.
Yep.
If they're saying, I'm having a hard time learning, you don't go to the school and say, hey, my kid's having a hard time learning. You need to check and see, is there a problem in my child's learning process? If there is not a problem in your child's learning process, then you go to the school and say, look, there's nothing wrong with the way that my child is learning, but they're having a hard time learning in this setting. How can we get this better?
Right.
But if you don't know if they're having difficulty with the learning process, I mean, you got to fix the tires before you start accusing the road of having difficulties.
That's a
There
good
you
point.
go. That's a great point. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I get it about Louisiana roads. And I get it.
Don't we all?
I'm
Don't we all?
just saying.
All right. Well,
I'm just saying. We can throw accusations out there, but I, as a teacher for many, many years, in the classroom, I did my very, very best for the students. But I'm going to probably shock you with a statement. Teachers are not trained to work on cognitive skills.
Yep.
Yeah.
That doesn't shock me at all, and that's why LearningRx it's such a wonderful blessing for our community.
Number one in the world.
Yep, number one. 8856 Uri Drive, 318-797-8523. It's that simple. Pick up the phone, give Donesa and LearningRx a call, and you can get that cognitive checkup. They'll send you a link. You can go in, but it's as simple as just getting a link sent to you. 318-797-8523. LearningRx of Shreveport, Bossier City. Donesa Walker, our life strategist today. We've got more to come, more to learn still. Stay with us here on Strategies. Dealing with stress, pain, feel like you're running out of options? When your life is balanced, wellness is a given. True wellness is holistic. It's about the mind, the body, and the spirit, all in balance. Now, there's a place right here in Shreveport that's all about helping us achieve peak mental, emotional, and physical health. The Balanced Life, 117 Kings Highway, right next door to Strawn's. Come see and feel the difference getting your life in balance can be. Many of your friends and neighbors have already learned the difference less stress and pain mean in their lives. You can book a discovery session right now online, thebalancedlife.us. All you've got to lose is stress, pain, or maybe both. Come see and feel for yourself the real difference balanced wellness makes. The Balanced Life Wellness Center, 117 Kings Highway in Shreveport, next door to Strawn's, thebalancedlife.us. And welcome back into 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. PLPC Lauren Leon McMillan, David McMillan, with Donesa Walker from LearningRx, world champ LearningRx of Shreveport, Bossier City. 318-797-8523. You'll get an assessment, you get a personalized plan, you get one-on-one training sessions, but it all starts with a cognitive checkup, and you can get that started simply by calling 318-797-8523, and you'll be glad you did. Donesa Walker with us today as our life strategist. Big things coming up just around the corner at LearningRx. Family Game Night on August the 16th, Donesa.
Yes, we are hosting a family game night where you can come out and the winning family takes home a family game box full of games. so that they can enjoy those. I know, right?
That's
It's going to be a lot of
awesome.
fun. I know. It's going to be like a whole bunch of fun, and there's no limit. Each family will be playing. You won't have to play against other families. You actually are going to play against your own
Oh.
family and earn points, and then the family with the most points will actually win the game box to get to take home. So it's kind of a lot of fun. Really, I'm really excited about it just because it is an adventure that I think a lot of families will get to enjoy
Absolutely.
and experience for themselves. Just a lot of fun to get to say, hey, you know, I have this game box and I can play with this and I can enjoy it and use these games to grow my own family, to
There you
get my
go.
family to
There you
to
go.
grow in those experiences, because family game night can be a game changer. It trains everyone's brain, and it's such an easy thing to do, but people fail to realize how easy it is just to implement gaming into your neck. And I'm not talking about video games,
Okay.
although
Right.
there are some good video games.
Right.
Yeah.
That
But these
can
are
have
board
benefit.
games. These are what we came up with and think of as real games.
Yeah, the traditional
Yeah.
tabletop.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about games that we know that benefit each cognitive skill, and the families that come out that night will also be given, every family that comes out will get a digital assessment for their family to use for whichever member of the family at no
Fantastic.
cost. And we will have BOGO. So if you do buy one, then you will also get one free that night. So we have
Oh,
lots of
fantastic.
specials that they will also be able to take advantage of.
All right, and that's coming
a lot
up
of fun.
August. That's coming up August the 16th.
That's
Family
next Friday.
game night. That's next Friday
That's
night.
next
Yeah.
Friday night. Yeah, so week
6:30.
from Friday, yes, at 6:30.
All
yes,
right, 6:30 to 8:30, and it's at 8856 Uri Drive, Suite D. Easy to find. Going south on Uri Drive, you just passed LSUS, and it's on the right going south. And there you go, 8856 Uri Drive, August the 16th.
And you do need to call to reserve your family spot.
Oh, okay. So call ahead, 318-797-8523. And, of course, you can go online. And if you don't remember that phone number, learningrx.com/Shreveport. And it'll get you the number and all of that good stuff. You know, we've been talking about the students, and rightly so, because school has started. But you know, you can the old saying, it's you can't teach an old, well, I'd rather more mature dog new tricks,
Woof, woof.
is not entirely correct anymore, Donesa. Even as we age, at any point in time, the cognitive deficits can show up. And so this is something from young to folks with more wisdom.
Cradle
right?
to the grave.
Yeah,
You
there
can
you
always
go.
use some training.
Yeah, and it'll benefit.
Yeah, so we currently, our oldest client right now is 88 years old.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so we've had a 104-year-old training before, but
Wow.
the current oldest client is 88.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, the skills, what's the benefits of training. I have several people in their 80s that are doing astounding things with their brain. And then I also have, I'll tell you this, I have 5 of my brain trainers that are 72 this year.
Oh,
Wow.
man. Man.
They are brain trainers, and they started with me many years ago. And because their brain has stayed sharp, they are continuing on in being able to do this. So this is a benefit for those of you who think, hey, my brain's sharp and I want to keep it sharp. Well, maybe you need a little part-time job, or maybe you
Yes.
I'm just saying,
I
you
love
know, give back a little bit, you know,
Yeah.
get in here and give back a little bit, or maybe you just want a little refinement for yourself. Either way, you know, we have a great benefit to people who are part-timers and want to work, and people who are part-timers and want to train, and we do both.
There you go. So if if you have an interest, 318-797-8523. It's never too late.
No.
And yeah.
And there's never a wrong time, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Not at all. Not at all. We start at age 4.
Yeah.
And we actually have a couple of almost 4-year-olds that are training right now that are twins. And it's really fun to look at those little ones and look at the older ones and say, you know what? Everybody's brain has potential to change.
That's right.
Absolutely. And what difference will that make for those 4-year-olds to train, to come in for brain training? What difference will that make when they go into kindergarten, when they go into first grade?
Yeah. Go in reading instead of go in, trying to learn to read. So that's great.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's just so much. There's just so much that can be done. Used to, not too many years ago, we even when I was in graduate school, we pretty much thought, okay, well, whatever hand you were dealt, you gotta play that hand. But now we know better.
Oh yeah.
We know that the brain has plasticity, and
That's right.
Yep. But it's not going to happen without you doing something, and
Right.
LearningRx is a great place to do something. Yeah.
It's a great place to do something, and it's a great place to just have a baseline. So either way, baseline or intervention, we would love to see you.
Absolutely. And again, we know there's a lot going on right now, this week, next week, as you get, as families reorient and get used to, the stepped up activity during the school year.
Back into the busier routines.
Yep. But, Lauren, you and I talk a lot here on strategies of, I'll say it this way, to thine own self be true,
Yeah.
So take care of yourself first. Take care of your family,
Yes.
Before all those extracurriculars and things like that. And it's so easy to do.
It's your body and your brain through which you experience the world. So it's pretty important.
Absolutely. So cognitive checkup, easy. Pick up the phone, call 318-797-8523. LearningRx of Shreveport Bossier City, and it can be as easy as just getting a link sent to you, and there you go. You'll have a cognitive checkup
And access to the #1 center in the world.
Amen. Donesa Walker, LearningRx of Shreveport Bossier City, world champs, and we'll be back to wrap up with Donesa Walker here on Strategies for Living in just a moment. You're going to see the difference. When you go to Azalea Cleaners, you'll hear about it too. Azalea Cleaners has been fine dry cleaning since 1958, plus laundry, alterations and repairs, comforters, wedding gown cleaning and restoration. You'll hear about it from your friends because they'll see it too. They'll notice the Azalea difference. Azalea is convenient. 732 Azalea Drive, 9220 Ellerby Road, and 9227 Mansfield Road. Plus, the front door of your home or business with Azalea's delivery on demand. Just text SETUP to 249-8283, and Azalea will pick up your clothes and deliver them back clean and fresh to you. You can't get closer than that. That's the Azalea difference. You'll notice it right away. Others will too. The Azalea difference. Fine dry cleaning since 1958. Text SETUP to 249-8283 and get the Azalea difference. AzaleaCleaners.com. And welcome back. Welcome back into 101.7 FM. 710 Keel. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. Lauren, Leon McMillan, David McMillan with Donesa Walker from LearningRx, Shreveport Bossier City, 8856 Uri Drive, 318-797-8523. Don't forget about the August the 16th family game night, 6:30 to 8:30. And that's Friday, August the 16th. Yeah, there you go. Donesa, what's if there were only one game, what's the best game that anyone could obtain
As a family
to help all of our brains?
All right. So you may be shocked by this, but it's terribly easy to get. It is a deck of cards.
Oh.
Really? Okay.
Yes, because a deck of cards can be sorted. It can be sorted by colors, by sets. It can actually be used to work on processing speed, logic, and reasoning. It can be worked on memory. So the deck of cards can be a typical deck of cards, or it could be a deck of cards like an Uno deck, where you could do mathematical places and color matching and so many different things that you can do. So there's so many. And, we have an actual family game pack of activities that we give away digitally. Or if you want to stop by and you can get it, and it has examples of how to use this for your own brain training toolkit. And we do free seminars for this for workplaces and schools and parent groups.
Always things happening at LearningRx. I love it. Donesa, thank you. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for being a great life strategist, as always, here on Strategies for Living.
Have a good day.
Folks, thank you for tuning in to Strategies for Living. We appreciate you being with us, and we appreciate our wonderful sponsors making it possible. LearningRx, the Robinson Film Center, Azalea Cleaners, Pintail Roofing, Empress Cannabis with Love, and the Balanced Life Wellness Center. If today were the last day of your life, you only had one more phone call that you could make, who would you call? And what would you say? Why are you waiting? Make the call. For Donesa Walker and for Lauren Leon McMillan, I'm David McMillan. See you next time right here on Strategies for Living.